What's good with y'all people? It's your boy, the chosen one, God's chosen son. Up early on the Sabbath, man. I pray y'all get y'all rest today. I'm coming on here, man. I didn't know when I was gonna speak on this topic. It's been probably about 3 weeks since this happened. But, I was up last night, woke up in the middle of the night, thinking about the spirit of truth and thinking about a lot of things, a lot of things on which I wanted to speak on this channel. And this was on my heart heavy, bruh. So today I'm gonna give a testimony of mine. I feel like the people need to hear that, we can learn something from, people out there can gain something from. I'm gonna give a disclaimer before giving this testimony. I'm not gonna get into the super gritty details of this sad story, just out of respect for the other person. And I'm also going to go set the record straight. So this testimony that I'm giving, I was in a relationship. This relationship ended 3 weeks ago. I was in this relationship for about a year and some change. And I come to realize, after time of processing the events of what happened, I was sleeping with the enemy. Now, in my last video, I talked about spiritual warfare and how serious things get. And one of the devil's biggest, his biggest strongholds on people is soul ties. So, to set the record straight, in this relationship, I wasn't the perfect man, It was moments I failed in my lust, It was moments that I didn't show the greatest signs of leadership, right? And these was moments, but one thing I always did was I took accountability when I fell short, and was always still staying in prayer. Now, God will have you go through certain things in order to elevate you. And the devil will send certain people to try and destroy you. Because for the saints out there, we have a light, we have an anointing, right? So, just as much bad as I did in this situation, we always growing as men. That's the whole point, right? So we take accountability and we hold our heads high and get back up and do better. Just as much, wickedness I could say I was doing in these situations, and how many times I had failed, I did just as much, if not more, good for this person. Truth be told, right? So, how things ended was I caught her on some adulterous stuff. Real talk. Like I said, I'm not gonna go into too many details about everything, because I'm not here on this video to condemn nobody. I'm not here to condemn this person or whatnot. I just want to give my testimony on how people infiltrate into your lives. So I'm more so gonna focus on what happened afterwards. So after I caught her and whatnot in the act of committing adultery, right? I went through so many phases of how I felt, about things. I went through grief, anger, depression, bargaining, all of that stuff, the 5 stages of grief and whatnot, forgiveness, acceptance, and all of this. And what I had came to realize at the end of the relationship is, bro, women is it's no secret, women is our biggest downfall. It's the spirit of lust, the women, the chasing after them, all of this type of stuff. It's our biggest test. It's the biggest thing Satan used against us. And I truly believe that this person was put into my life to destroy me. I truly believe this person was riddled with demons. Now, we know we fight against principalities in high places, but I truly believe that this person was opening portals up for Satan to inhabit, and for Satan to send demons to inhabit them, and was on code because she seen the light that I was carrying. Now, let me give a little bit of backstory. Before I met this woman, I just so happened to be in a position, a very prosperous position, was dressing real good, was making good money, was up on my feet, was out talking to people, socializing, really putting in some phenomenal works with my boy Born Rowe, which is that's my brother, bro. So that's the spot I was in, and I noticed a lot of the time when you are in those spots, because it's not the first time I've been there, Satan will send people in your life to disrupt your flow. Now, within this relationship, because soul ties is very important, they are very real, people transfer demons over to you. And like I said, I've come to realize through this experience, and reading the UOU book, we are the narrators of our life. So everything we went through, is technically our fault. So after the whole situation, I had to sit there and I had to ask myself, I was like, dang, I did this to myself. If I was a bit more aware, if I didn't have sex with this woman off jump, upon meeting her, if I would have took my time, been patient, all of this type of stuff, the spirit would have led me, and I wouldn't have failed for the pitfall. So one thing in the relationship that happened was I had been sober for 6 years from smoking. And at the time, before I met her, I was drinking here and there. But this is why, it's important to keep in mind who you lie with, right? Because soul ties do exist, right? Soul ties do exist. The transferal of spirits and demons exist, right? So for the first time in 5 years, I had started smoking again. Obviously, it's a choice that I committed to, and I was drinking far more often. When things had ended, which was, a couple weeks ago, almost a month ago, I haven't had no urges to smoke. I haven't had no urges to drink. And we count things like this at all joy, because God severed the wheat and the tare in my life. God got them demons up out of my life. Because what the devil want to do is he wants to send people, narcissistic people full of hate, people full of resentment. He want to send them to harness your energy. He wants to send them to block your purpose, block your path. At this point I'm in life, I've never had as much energy as I had now. Well, I ain't gonna say never, maybe when I was a kid, but it's been ages. I haven't felt this good in a long time. I haven't been this locked in a long time. So I count the situation all joy, because I had to go through that betrayal. I had to go through loss and losing things, because I wanted to do what I wanted to do, right? I wanted to sit up there and please my flesh. I wanted to have somebody to be affectionate with. I wanted to sit up here, even if that cost me, my discernment and letting certain things go. Now, throughout this relationship, I still retained a lot of my light. I still spoke good into this person's life. I still tried to help this person with their addictions and whatnot, but still, and I hated, this was one thing I learned, I seen within the relationship, and it really opened my eyes to where for this person I pray for, like, it's actually kind of sad, like, truth be told, because the things that we are afflicted with, a lot of it is passed down from our parents. It's passed down through generational trauma. It's passed down, it's passed down, and it's a stronghold set up in our childhood, right? So I watched this woman, you know, and I seen her troubles, and it upset me. I seen the way her family treated her, and it upset me. And I really wanted to be a refuge for her, to get away from that, to escape that, and to help. So I knew I was still carrying the light in the spirit. It wasn't like a man was completely reprobated, but, you know, still, you know, moving, you know, trial and error, you know, failures and success. So also throughout this situation, I had emotional breakthroughs. You know, I had moments of breaking down and realizing stuff I still needed to heal from, right? You know, I had moments of complete vulnerability and weakness. And that's a telltale sign on when you able to look inside yourself and reflect from another person, and you able to see some faults that you have, to the point where sometimes it even bring you to tears of vulnerability, and you try and fix those things. Now, the Bible say a wicked woman is the portion of a wicked man. So we are going to be assigned the women. We're going to be assigned the women that mirror us and where we are currently in our lives. So throughout the whole situation, I understand. I've grown to understand that, you know, it was still wickedness within me that had to be, you know, that had to be sorted out and figured out and transformed. And by the end of this situation, the transformation was complete. God had worked on me. He used this person that the devil tried to persecute, that the devil tried to use to persecute, to uplift me. And speaking afterwards, you know, like I said, the place I'm in now, we gonna do a Bible study on The Gathering. Go follow The Gathering, right? And I'm gonna tie this in with everything. Go follow us on The Gathering. Today's Bible study is going to be phenomenal. It should be up either tomorrow or Monday, but we're going to talk about the spirit of truth. Now, what I came to understand after I got out of this situation, I was able to see things more clearly that I couldn't see before, right? I done went through the situation in the whole relationship a million times in my mind over and over again since doomsday, right? And when you get that clarity, and when you start doing good things for yourself, right? You know, going and working out, you know, building up your testosterone as a man, going celibate. We're going to talk about celibacy too in a second. But going celibate and all of this type of stuff, you start to inherit more of the spirit, more of the Holy Ghost. And with that comes the spirit of truth. Now, the spirit of truth helps you discern all things. We don't necessarily need to have the answers come out of somebody's mouth in order to discern the truth. Just like how I discerned on that day and caught her up doing what she was doing the wickedness that she was doing. You know, God led me with the spirit of discernment to catch her up. He also gave me the spirit of truth to understand everything that occurred from every little situation I thought about that we went throughout the memories and all this, to, you know, specific things that were said. And what it revealed was she was this person the whole time. So, you know, if you ask me personally, this is what I say, bruh. Nobody can ever truly love you if they never truly love themselves, right? You know, a lot of people be in situations where they be in relationships for a long time. They break up, and they be like, and people tell them like, well, that person loved you at some point, you know, or something like that. Me personally, I'm against that belief. I think if you never loved yourself, how are you capable of loving anybody else? It's an oxymoron. But so, yeah, through the spirit of truth, I was able to look back on these situations and be like, dang, how wasn't I able to see this sooner? But why wasn't I able to see these things sooner? Because I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to please my flesh. I wanted to, you know, go out, have sex. I wanted to have the intimate connection. I wanted to do all of these things despite, you know, the things that were said in the beginning, or situations that occurred where I should have left earlier, where God was giving me those signs. So what God had to do, he had to put me in a situation where I couldn't deny it, where I had to see it for myself, where I had to sit there, I had to accept it, you know, verbatim. And when he did that, everything fell into place. The more I thought about it, the more of the pieces I put together, and the more of the spirit I inherited. For my men out there that's watching, and for my women, bruh, I'm not gonna even go say for a specific person, bro. Practice celibacy, bruh. Practice celibacy, bruh. The Bible tell us we not supposed to love the things of the world, right? The world loves the lust aspect. It's the easy thing to go to, right? You know, I could have easily, after this situation, jumped in and said, I'm gonna find me somebody else to deal with, right? It's a multitude of people to do that with. I could have easily, you know, cope, drink, you know, sat up here, smoked. But what I decided to do, I said, I'm gonna get in the gym every day. I'm gonna start eating well every day. I'm gonna stop eating sugars for a time period, right? You know, I'm gonna go celibate. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that, right? These are the things that I've been holding myself to, because at the end of the day, everything happens for the betterment of the saints. Like this was a blessing, bro. And for anybody that went through a similar situation where you dealt with a woman and you seen her cold heart at the end, you know, the Bible say, you know, an adulterous woman eateth from her table, wipeth her mouth, and she says, I have done no wrong. You know, you witness, she can't tell you the truth. At the end, she can't keep it a bean with you. And it may have been times you kept it a bean with her. You know, if any of y'all went through this situation, understand you're blessed. You dodged a bullet. Imagine if you had kids with somebody like that. Imagine if you gave more time to somebody like that. Imagine the growth, understand the growth that you went through by going through that. God never promised us that things were going to be peachy keen. It's going to be betrayal. It's going to get sick and wicked out here. And the people who can betray you is the people you let in to be the closest. I let this person in knowing in the beginning I wasn't sure of them. And in the beginning I was really on some time and like, do I really want to do this? But I was like, all right, I had already dealt with her on the physical level. I was like, I felt obligated to take care of her because it's so easy. It's so many men out here that's sitting up here, you know, just going and dealing with women, you know, and quote unquote slutting them out and not taking no responsibility. So I was like, you know, in the beginning, it was hard for me to like want the relationship, especially since I was getting out of something else when I met her. I didn't have no patience. But at the end of the day, I didn't have those feelings for no reason. You can look at it like I should have known better and whatnot. But a lot of the times with us people, you know, of God that's trying to really reach the salvation, is really trying to inherit the spirit, we are empathetic people. Like, we don't want to do people bad, bruh. We want to tell the truth, bruh. We want to sit up here and be honest. We want to take up for our mistakes. We want to help people. I watched this woman have issues with so many demonic impositions and wanted to be there to alleviate that. But what I learned from that situation is I can't. Only Christ can. Only Christ can work on that person. And even to this day, I'm praying for her. I'm praying for her because it's a sick world out there, bro. It's a lot of impositions. It's a lot of spiritual and demonic strongholds that we inherit, you know, that we open, the portals that we open up on our own, all types of stuff, bro, that just take affliction over our lives, bro. And it's not black and white with people, bro. Everybody is fighting something. Everybody is battling something. Some people battling in silence. You know, some people crying out loud for help. And the worst part of the whole situation is, you know, when you reject somebody who is truly there, that God places in your life to be a beacon and to help you. Like, you really are causing yourself inner turmoil, bro. Like the Isaiah chapter 48 verse 22 says, the wicked have no peace. They have no peace. People that's unrepentant have no peace. It's sick. It's sad. So yeah, with that being said, man, to my people out there, I pray you got something from this testimony. Be patient. Be patient. Your person, the people that's supposed to be around you, that appreciate you, your significant other, you know, if you into the polygynous tip, you know, your women, your wives, they're coming. You have to be patient. Consecrate your flesh, bruh. Women, stop getting out here jumping to the next dude, bruh. And when you do get somebody good, you know, test them. First off, test the fruits of the spirit. Stop jumping into relationships off jump. I'm saying this to myself. I did it. Stop jumping into relationships, man. Get the scouting report. Go get to know this person 6 months to a year. Both my men and women. Stop having sex right off jump. That's a sacred act. Stop doing that right off jump. You ruin the whole thing when you do that. You ruin the whole thing when you do that. Have some self-control, some patience, because what's coming after the patience is even more grand than you could have imagined. That's how God works. Satan wants you to rush into things. He wants you to doubt. He wants you to be quick to act. God says, be slow to speak. Have patience. Have long suffering. For my women, when you get that man and you choose him, he's your head. Be obedient to him. Being disobedient is a sin. It's like if man were to be disobedient to Christ and his teachings, it's a sin. Men, take accountability. We gonna falter. We gonna have issues. We gonna fall. The righteous fall several times and get back up. And if that woman if she's over there, if you with somebody right now, and when you falter, it's always throwing it in your face, it's resentment held up after you apologized and you genuinely sat up here and you took accountability, and she holding that stuff in months later, you have to go. That's the spirit of resentment, hatred. We are called to be forgiving. If somebody can't forgive you, when you come with a genuine, open heart, both men and women, when you come with an open, genuine heart and they hold your past against you, they hold the things that you did to them against you months, years later, they're harboring resentment. It's hatred. And only God can work on that, bruh. You can't change that. You can't change that. And it's going to be there until they allow it. Because it's something that we have to allow. But men, stay on your purpose. And, you know, be obedient to the word. Be obedient to the words of Christ. And, you know, consecrate your flesh. Women, you know, do your best at discerning, you know, and staying chaste and modest. You'll be rewarded with a good man. Test him by the spirit of his fruits and whatnot, and stop chasing quick thrills and validation. That's y'all battle. Y'all have a million men DMing y'all every day. They say sometimes having 1 or 2 options is better than having 10 different options. Y'all got men at y'all fingertips with this social media stuff. Don't let Satan trick you out your spot, thinking that the grass is greener on the other side when you get somebody that really care about you. If you find somebody they praying for you, they telling you scriptures, A man, he trying to correct you. You know, he correcting you when you wrong. Stop, learn to get up out your feelings. Take it to God. And when that man falter, you know, take it to God. Pray that God work on him, and he will. That's all it is to it. With that being said, that's my testimony, man. Like I said, bruh, I didn't even know if I was gonna come on here and talk about this at some point, but here we are. You know, I had to. The people deserve the stories. You know, y'all deserve to hear not only about the triumph, but also about the low moments of us that are called, you know, in the name of Christ, to bring forth the gospel. Why? Because it shows I'm a sinner just like you. None of us are perfect. We all just doing what we can to get closer to the Son of Man, man. That's all we're doing in this walk. Getting closer to what God calls perfection. We taking it day by day. And you know, blessed are we that go through the persecution for his name's sake. It's more to come. You know, don't let it discourage you. You know, don't let that person, them people in your lives, don't let them discourage you. Don't let them bring you down. Count it all joy. That means you winning. We already won. With that being said, it's been your boy, the chosen one, God's chosen son, signing out. This was a good heart to heart. See y'all.